Welcome back. Today we have a fun little something here to unbox. I believe I know what this is, but we'll need to confirm by opening it. So let's take a look here and see what we've got. All right, let me just make sure this is good. There we go. Dan, I hope your son and his cousins enjoy these. I'll keep you posted on the new models and materials. Thanks, Brant. Appreciate the note. And yeah, excited to check these out. So I'd seen this on the Oz group because originally these were getting made to look like an Oz knife, but then they chose not to partner up, and instead Brant decided to go ahead and make versions of these that were just based off of like other designs or his own design or whatever. And he's selling them on Etsy. They're not inexpensive, but they're not crazy either. Given, I imagine they actually take quite a bit of time to make. But let's see what we think. So here's the first one. This is a pretty cool one where it's sort of a uniform color. Let's see. Here's the second one. More of a diverse color there. And then here is the third one. All right, sorry, getting it out of here. That one's pretty darn cool. All right, so these are all, looks like pretty much the same design, more or less, like the scales wise, they're pretty much the same. One of them is sort of a thumb stud variant. One of them has more of a fuller, and one of them has a thumb hole. But let's see what you think. So these are called Magnafold. They use magnets for retention. And yeah, I think it's kind of a fake little pocket clip there to kind of emulate the look of a typical folding knife. And oh, that's kind of fun feeling. It's got a fun little sound to it. Oh, that's cool. I wasn't quite sure what the action was going to be like on these, but it's quite entertaining actually. It's got a nice little plink there. Of course, this is not designed to go cutting things, and you'd have to be very careful with it. You can imagine this is not designed for hard use, but you got a little backspacer in there. It's using real concepts of folding knives, which is cool, like thumb studs, like this little pin across the back here. He's using some pretty cool colors and blade shapes, which is neat. The ergos on this are quite fun. Now there's no locking mechanism, right? Because it's just sort of locked up with some sort of magnet retention back here. You can actually see it. Let's get a little zoom in on that. So it's got some sort of magnet retention there, which is a cool idea. And then down here, it must have, oh, you know what? It swings back around, and then there's a magnet on the other side as well. So that's how it works, is there's a magnet on both sides. Oh, it's a clever design. And it's got a really cool sound to it. So let's take a look at some of the others here and see what we think. Going right to this one because, oh yeah, reverse flick, super neat. This one also, same design for the most part, but a little bit of a different backspacer and colors and whatnot. Yeah, that's a fun little action actually. Kind of flips down. My son is out of his seat looking at this right now, really wanting to get his hands on one of these and play around with it. I can see he's very excited. And he's patiently waiting for this video to end. Let's see. This one is really neat too. More of a light color here. Quite pretty actually. And more of a monochrome style. Look at that. All the action is really good. I mean, they're not, there's no lockup on these or anything. Don't expect for this to like emulate some sort of real folding knife, but it does in terms of the action. Like you're not going to go cut anything with this. But in terms of the action and stuff, it's really cool. It's got detent, right? That's pretty neat. I'm impressed. I'm pleasantly impressed with this. If I don't give one of these to my son pretty quickly here, he's going to get very much more and more excited, I can see. So I'm liking it. I think it's a cool idea. Now, these are not inexpensive. I don't know if prices will change over time, so I'm not going to mention the prices, but you can go check these out on Etsy. I'll link them in the description. But yeah, overall, I think in terms of what he set out to do, he's done a good job. Could you make the scales higher quality? Could you make it a real pocket clip? You know, does it make sense to maybe give it a little bit of a grind so it has an emulation of like a grind on there? There are some things you could certainly do, but I imagine for what I paid and what the effort it takes to hand make these, this seems like a very fair price for what I paid, which is under $100, over $50. We'll leave it at that. You can go check out the website, as I imagine, again, this changes. Oh, totally missed that. Front flip, are you kidding me right now? That's really neat. I like the front flipper. That's really fun. Let me see if these other ones have front flippers on it, because that is, totally missed that the whole time. That makes it extra fidgety. I have to say, this is pretty fun here. The only thing I'm just not sure about is like, what's going to be, you know, how strong is it? How long would it last? I don't really know how the pivots work or anything like that. Let's see if we can tell it all here. I don't know if it's running on some sort of bearings or if it looks like it's just kind of like a wooden washer maybe. So I can't speak to all of that in terms of reliability and all that fun stuff. But generally, it seems like it's well designed. So I would think it would hold up okay. If a kid goes and beats on this, oh, I see what's going on. There's no real like washer or anything like that. It's just spinning around on a pivot. Not sure why I would have thought that, but you know, I don't know. I guess I'm just used to knives being designed that way. You know, a little flaw here on this one. Not as perfect as the other ones. So personally, I probably would expect a discount on one that has something like that on there if you're charging me for the other ones. But again, overall, really cool. They're also light on the detent, which is nice because I think like one of the challenges with a younger hand getting into these is actuating them. The detent is there and quite snappy, as you can see, but I think my son will be able to actually roll this out and use it as it's intended, which is pretty cool. This is fun. I'm impressed. The action's a little more fun than I expected. The knife is a little more wobbly than I expected in terms of how the blade sits in here. I thought maybe you would have like braced it a bit more, but I see why you wouldn't, because you really don't need to. You're not gonna be cutting anything with this. Overall, ergos are fun, well designed. You had a couple other ones like a mini goblin, which was cool. And yeah, I'm sure you're gonna probably see this and think this is a pretty cool present for one of your family members. So now I get to let my son pick one of these out, and then his cousins will probably get the other two. We'll see how it all plays out. So I think that's all for now. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Good job, Magnafold. Take care.